The Union Square Giveaway. Union Square, Manhattan, August 2023. Cenat announces a free giveaway.
Doing a huge giveaway.
Promising gaming gear, PlayStation consoles.
Okay, bro, I need all my New York out there. We're gonna be going crazy.
The announcement draws thousands, mostly young fans. But there was a problem. The event had no permit, no real crowd control, no official coordination, and it spun out of control fast.
He arrived, and that's really when chaos and mayhem broke out.
Large crowds flooded the park and the streets. Property damage was reported, assaults, multiple arrests followed. The NYPD mobilized to disperse what had become a dangerous situation. Kai was detained right there at the scene. The charges? Incitement to riot and unlawful assembly. Those charges were later resolved after a public apology and paying restitution. But the public anger was straightforward. A hugely influential creator posted an open invitation to thousands with no logistics, no safety planning. The predictable result was chaos and danger.
For a game console? How desperate are they?
Societal collapse. Doesn't anyone work anymore?
Entertainment or animal cruelty? One of the most heavily criticized moments in Cenat's career came during a chaotic live stream. Exotic animals, including a macaw and a frog, were brought into a cramped, noisy room full of people shouting, moving erratically, and knocking things over. What started as routine content creation quickly spiraled into one of the most heavily criticized moments in Cenat's entire career. The scene? A cramped room packed wall to wall with screaming fans, pounding music, and complete pandemonium. But this wasn't just another wild stream. This time, innocent animals were trapped in the middle of it all. The setup itself was questionable. Macaws are highly intelligent and extremely sensitive to stress. The clip that spread widely shows the bird perched nearby while loud commotion erupts. At one point, furniture is knocked over dangerously close to it. But it gets worse. A frog, reportedly inside a box on the table, was tossed across the room and narrowly avoided being crushed when an arcade machine tipped over. In a heart-stopping moment that lasted an eternity, an entire arcade machine began tipping over in slow motion, heading straight for where the frog had landed. The massive gaming cabinet swayed, creaked, and finally crashed down with thunderous force. The criticism cut deep. How could anyone justify subjecting intelligent, sensitive animals to such an uncontrolled, hostile environment? The macaw's natural habitat is the peaceful Amazon rainforest, not a room full of screaming humans and crashing furniture. The frog, already stressed from captivity, had been treated like a disposable toy in someone else's game. Mr. Beast, Charity Water, Snub.
We're on a mission to give 2 million people all around the world clean water.
The scandal that would expose the dark heart of internet wealth hit at the worst possible moment, when Cenat's empire was already crumbling under the weight of controversy. The timing couldn't have been more catastrophic for Kai. The charity scandal erupted like a volcano, burying what remained of his reputation under an avalanche.
I never got to tell you how that shit made me feel because of who you are and how your humor and like how you are as a person. I'm not
moral outrage. When Jimmy Mr. Beast Donaldson launched Team Water, it wasn't just another charity drive. It was a digital crusade that would define the moral character of every major creator on the platform. The mission was simple, urgent, and undeniably righteous. Provide clean drinking water to communities where children were literally dying from preventable waterborne diseases. The campaign exploded across social media like a righteous wildfire.
We did it, guys. We hit our goal of raising $40 million.
Within hours, the donation tracker began climbing at breakneck speed as creator after creator stepped up to the plate. The list grew longer by the hour. Even micro-influencers with tiny audiences were pulling together thousands of dollars, sacrificing their own financial security to contribute to something bigger than themselves. But as the donor list expanded and the total climbed into the millions, one name's absence became more and more conspicuous with each passing.
Holding this against you, I'm not putting it past you because I know who you are as a person.
Where's Kai? Started as innocent questions buried in Twitter replies. Fans genuinely wondered when their favorite streamer would join the cause. Some even defended his absence, suggesting he might be planning something bigger. But as day 2 arrived without any sign of participation, the whispers grew louder. Has anyone heard from Kai about Team Water? Weird that literally everyone except Kai has donated. Yo, where the F is Kai Cenat in all this? The questions multiplied exponentially. Reddit threads appeared, Twitter hashtags began trending. What started as curious inquiries transformed into pointed accusations, and pointed accusations evolved into moral outrage.
The Viewbotting Accusations, the allegation that would rock the streaming world to its core,
And I know he gonna see this. And don't try to watch flexing with me.
came like a lightning bolt from one of the platform's biggest names, XQC,
Q fucking C.
one of Twitch's most influential and fearless streamers, stepped into the arena with devastating accusations
PR shit, but
that would send shockwaves through Kai Cenat's empire.
and don't try to watch flexing shit with me.
In a moment that split the streaming community down the middle, XQC unleashed a calculated assault on the very foundation of Kai's meteoric rise. "Something's not right here," XQC declared to his massive audience, his voice cutting through the digital noise like a blade. "The numbers don't lie, and these numbers are screaming fraud." The accusations weren't whispered rumors or basement forum speculation. This was a full-scale public execution, broadcast live to hundreds of thousands of viewers who watched in stunned silence as one titan called out another.
Yeah, I got Viewbotting. I just got Viewbotting. I got Viewbotting just now.
XQC came armed with receipts, cold, hard statistical evidence that painted a picture of systematic deception. He pulled up the data like a prosecutor presenting evidence to a jury, each number more damning than the last. The viewer spikes were impossible to ignore. Kai's stream counts would rocket from modest numbers to astronomical heights in mere minutes. Surges so sudden and dramatic they defied every natural law of audience growth. Real viewers don't materialize out of thin air. Real communities don't explode overnight without warning. But the most devastating evidence? The engagement rates. "Look at this," XQC said, his cursor dancing across spreadsheets that told a story of artificial inflation. 200,000 viewers? But the chat's moving like there's maybe 20,000 people actually watching. The math doesn't add up. Kai's response was not calm. It was not an evidence-backed explanation. He defended himself and his friends. The Nigerian school scandal. The promise that would expose the hollow core of performative philanthropy began with fanfare and ended in betrayal.
I went to Makoko in Nigeria. When I see the condition that the people was in and like the babies were in and like the kids were in, I was like, nah.
Leaving an entire community's dreams buried in the dust of broken commitments. That's when Kai made the announcement that would change everything. "Chat, we're about to do something incredible," he declared, his eyes gleaming with the fervor of someone who believed he was about to make history. "We're building a school in Nigeria."
About it been happened. What are you talking about? Why are y'all acting like a school takes? Why are y'all acting like a school takes?
Not just any school. We're talking about a full educational facility that's going to change lives forever. The live stream chat exploded into chaos. Hearts and fire emojis flooded the screen faster than the eye could follow. Donations spiked immediately as viewers rushed to be part of what felt like a genuinely transformative moment. The location wasn't chosen randomly. Makoko, one of Lagos's most impoverished communities, represents everything that's wrong with educational inequality in Nigeria. Built on stilts over Lagos Lagoon, this floating slum houses over 100,000 people in conditions that would shock most Western viewers.
Children here grow up without basic educational infrastructure, their potential squandered by circumstance. Kai painted a picture of transformation. He spoke passionately about breaking cycles of poverty, about giving children opportunities their parents never had, about using his platform's massive reach to create lasting change in a community that desperately needed hope. This isn't just about building walls and desks, he said, his voice rising with conviction. This is about building futures. We're going to show the world what's possible when the internet comes together for something that actually matters. The first cracks in the facade appeared when Kai's promised monthly updates failed to materialize. Viewers who had donated specifically for the school project began asking innocent questions in chat. Any news on the Nigeria school? When do we get to see construction starting? Can't wait for progress pics. The questions were met with vague deflections and promises that updates were coming soon. Kai would pivot quickly to other topics, his enthusiasm for the school discussion notably absent compared to the passionate announcement that had launched the campaign. The journey to Makoko was an adventure in itself. Navigating Lagos traffic, coordinating with local guides, and gaining access to the floating community required significant preparation. Marcus documented every step, creating a comprehensive record of his search for the promised educational facility. What Marcus found in Makoko was absolutely nothing. No construction site, no foundation work, no cleared land, no sign that any significant development project had ever been planned, much less initiated. Local community leaders, when approached with questions about Cenat's school project, responded with blank stares and confused shrugs. "We heard about some American wanting to build something here," one community elder explained through a translator. "But nobody ever came to talk with us. No one asked what we needed. No one showed us plans. We've been waiting to hear something, anything, but nobody came."
The Jinxy tournament. What was supposed to be a simple collaboration between creators turned into a masterclass in public humiliation.
Bro, I'm still. It might not be on my stream, but I'm still dedicate a day to now thinking
That would expose the toxic underbelly of streaming hierarchy and leave one creator's dignity shattered in front of thousands of witnesses. The Jinxy tournament wasn't just a gaming event gone wrong. It was a brutal demonstration of how internet fame can corrupt basic human decency and transform collaboration into cruel entertainment. The plan seemed innocent enough on paper. Jinxy, a passionate but smaller Clash Royale streamer, had spent weeks crafting what he believed would be an epic tournament featuring some of the biggest names in content creation. His pitch was professional, his enthusiasm was infectious, and his preparation was meticulous. This wasn't some thrown-together event. This was Jinxy's shot at breaking into the big leagues, his chance to prove that smaller creators could organize events that matched the production value of major streaming collectives. When Cenat and the AMP crew agreed to participate, Jinxy felt like he'd won the lottery. These weren't just any streamers, these were titans of the platform. Creators whose participation could launch his channel into an entirely different stratosphere. The collaboration represented everything beautiful about the creator ecosystem. Established stars using their platforms to lift up emerging talent, community building through shared gaming experiences, and the democratic potential of streaming, where anyone with good ideas and hard work could earn their place among the elite. Jinxy spent days preparing for what he hoped would be the defining moment of his streaming career. He created detailed tournament brackets, researched strategies for keeping the energy high during slower moments, planned segments that would showcase each participant's personality, and even prepared backup activities in case technical issues arose. This wasn't just content for him. This was his audition for relevance in an increasingly crowded digital landscape. The anticipation was electric as Jinxy went live, his viewer count already climbing as word spread that Cenat and AMP would be joining the stream. His chat filled with excitement and encouragement from his loyal community, people who had been supporting his content journey and were thrilled to see their favorite creator getting recognition from major names. Everything felt perfect, everything felt aligned.
Everything suggested that this would be the breakthrough moment that every small creator dreams about. Then Kai and the AMP crew joined the call, and the dream immediately began disintegrating into a nightmare. The shift in energy was immediate and devastating. What should have been an enthusiastic greeting between collaborators felt more like popular kids being forced to acknowledge the weird kid who'd somehow infiltrated their lunch table. Instead of the warm, collaborative atmosphere Jinxy had imagined, the call was filled with an uncomfortable tension that every viewer could feel through their screens. The fake and cringe backlash. At one point, Cenat was on a winning streak, breaking Twitch records, winning Streamer of the Year twice. Then, almost overnight, a new trend on TikTok started tearing him down. The clips weren't from scandals. They were simply moments of him laughing loudly, reacting dramatically. Out of context, the reactions looked exaggerated, unbelievable. This quickly snowballed into people calling him fake, annoying, and cringe. The core complaint was that his reactions, especially his laughs, didn't feel genuine, as if he was forcing every moment for the sake of content. But Kai is a streamer. His job is to entertain. Being high energy and reacting dramatically are tools of the trade. The backlash in that sense felt forced.
Disrespecting a legend. This backlash started when Cenat made comments that many fans interpreted as disrespectful toward PewDiePie, a creator who for over a decade was considered the face of YouTube. Kai said he didn't understand how people watched PewDiePie. While it was just his opinion, PewDiePie isn't just another creator, he's a cultural touchstone for entire generations of internet users. He shaped what YouTube entertainment even looked like. Even Mr. Beast had to step in and tell him that was an L take. When Kai seemed to dismiss or undermine PewDiePie's legacy, it hit a nerve. The darkest controversies. One of the biggest combined controversies in Cenat's career involves a mix of repeated Twitch bans, problematic comments toward women, and transphobic implications. One of the most talked about moments happened during a broadcast where it appeared he was receiving a sexual favor on camera with his younger brother in the room at the time. What shocked people even more was that Twitch took no action, no ban, no suspension, nothing. This is especially concerning when a huge portion of Kai's audience is made up of kids. On top of that, Kai has faced backlash for how he talks about women. Certain clips show him making objectifying comments, playing into over-sexualized jokes. The situation gets even heated with his interactions with Ava Chris Tyson, where his remarks and jokes were interpreted as dismissive toward trans identities, feeding into accusations of transphobia. And then there were accusations that Cenat received backlash for covering up for his friend who sexually assaulted a woman, even though all the evidence pointed out that his friend was guilty.